Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to show you how to make the cute little baby octopus that comes with the Mama Octo. So this is a really quick and fun project to make. So this is the Mama Octo. This is only available as a written pattern on my Etsy and Ravelry, but today we're going to learn how to make her babies that are so cute and fun to make. This is a really quick project and I really hope you'll like it. I also wanted to explain that you can use the same exact pattern of this tutorial with any yarn of your choice. So this is 7 different yarn that I use with different crochet hook size. I'm going to list them all in the description down below, but I'm just going to tell you which yarn it is, and then I'm going to put the crochet hook size and the eye size in the description down below. So this is Sweet Snuggles yarn from Loops and Threads at Michael's. Bernat Blanket yarn, Sweet Snuggles LITE, Parfait Chunky, Baby Velvet, Loops and Threads Impeccable, so this is worsted weight yarn, and we have DK yarn here, which is yarn and colors must-haves. So I'm gonna put them all in the description down below so you can find all the instruction and you can then decide which type of yarn you want to use for your project. So something else I want to talk about if you're new to my channel, this is going to be my third baby octopus tutorial. So I just want to show you the difference between all of them so you know which one to choose, or if you want to make them all, that's fine as well. So this is my baby number 1, the one I released a few years ago already. As you can see, it's a little bigger than the 2 others, and also the tentacles are different, as you can tell. So these are all made with the same yarn, which is Sweet Snuggles LITE from Michael's and a 5.5mm crochet hook. So we have this one here, which is baby number 1. Then we have baby number 2 that looks like that. So the tentacles are different. It's bubble stitch everywhere, so they are quite different. And also this one is smaller than the first one. And finally, this is the one we're gonna make today in this tutorial, baby number 3. So it's once again smaller, as you can tell, very small. And the tentacles are also different. It's kind of a mix between these two, so it's not bubble stitches, but it's not as long tentacle as this one here. So they're all different, so you can all make them and you can all find them on my YouTube channel. So let's make this one today. So for this tutorial, I'm going to be using some Sweet Snuggles LITE yarn from Loops and Threads at Michael's. I'll be using a 5.5mm crochet hook, some 12mm safety eyes, a pair of scissors, some polyester stuffing that I buy at Walmart, a stitch marker. If you don't have any stitch markers, you can use a bobby pin or anything to mark your first stitch of the round. And then a yarn needle. This is optional. If you don't have any yarn needle, you could also use your crochet hook for what I'm going to show you, but I just prefer to use a yarn needle. So let's get started now. So you're going to use your crochet hook and your yarn, and we're going to start. And just before that, I want to remind you that this is not a crochet class, so you need to know how to crochet first. Just the basic stitches like the single crochet stitches, how to chain, all of that. So if you don't know that, you can still try the tutorial, but I'm not saying that this is a crochet class. And also, if I'm going too slow or too fast for you at one point in the video, you can always change the speed of the video in the settings of the tutorial under playback speed. So let's get started. I'm gonna skip the magic ring because usually I would start with a magic ring, but I'm gonna keep that video as beginner as possible. So I'm gonna chain 2 instead. So if you know how to make a magic ring, you can do it now. I'm also gonna link the video here or there for my magic ring quick tutorial, but you don't need that to do the octopus. If you know how to do it, please do the magic ring with 7 single crochet stitches in it. Otherwise, just follow what I'm doing. So we're gonna start with a slip knot. So I'm gonna take my yarn, I'm gonna wrap it around 2 fingers. I'm gonna create an X here, and then you turn your fingers so you see your nails. You're gonna go underneath the first strand of yarn with your crochet hook, grab the second and pull. Okay, so there's other ways doing slip knot. You can just do it the way you know it. The goal here is to be able to tighten the loop on your hook once you pull on the little yarn tail here. If it's not what you have, then you would need to follow what I just showed. And then if you pull on the other yarn or your working yarn, then it should loosen up. But I don't want to do that too much. Okay, so I'm just going to pull it up like this. And then we're going to chain 2. So to chain 2, you're going to yarn over. So you put your yarn over your hook and you pull it through. So that's 1 chain. And then I'm going to do that again, chain 1. So we have a total of 2 chains now. If you're a beginner, I also recommend doing this tutorial with a worsted weight yarn, so it's easier for you to see the stitches. And if you're used to plush yarn like this or any other kind of yarn, that's fine. So I see that I have my chain here and then another one here. So I'm going to work my 7 single crochet stitches into the second chain from the hook. So I'm going to insert my hook into the second chain. And for this tutorial, I'm also using the yarn under technique. So every time I'm doing my single crochet stitches, I'm going to yarn under for the first one. So instead of yarning over like this, I'm going to place the yarn under my hook, pull it through, and then I'm going to yarn over for the second one to complete my single crochet stitch. So this is 1 single crochet stitch. Then I'm going to go back into the same chain, and I'm going to do another single crochet stitch, yarn under, pull through, yarn over, pull through. So this is 2 single crochet stitches, and we can see them with the little V shapes here. And I want a total of 7 single crochet stitches, so this is my 3rd, 4, 5, 6, and 7. If you're not sure if you're actually at 7 stitches, you can count from the end. So this is my last stitch here. You don't count the loop on your hook. So this is stitch 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is just a chain here that I'm going to hide inside. So this is my 7th stitch, and this is going to be the first stitch of my next round. So for next round here, I'm going to insert my crochet hook into the first stitch, which is the 7th, right here. And I'm going to work 2 single crochet stitches in it. So it's actually an increase. So I'm going to make my first one. And here I'm going to place my stitch marker in the first stitch of this round, just so we don't lose count. Okay, right here. So I just placed it in the V shape. And then I'm going to insert my crochet hook back into the same stitch because I want to do another single crochet stitch, which gives me an increase. Then I'm going to do that around. So I'm going into the next stitch. I'm going to work 2 single crochet stitches. Next stitch, 2 single crochet stitches. And like I said, you want to do that around. So you should have a total of 14 stitches by the end of this round. So I'm just doing an increase in every stitch around. I have 2 more increases and 1 more. Okay, and this is the end of round 2, and it looks like this. So you have 14 stitches around. Really important to count your stitches if you're a beginner, or even if you're not a beginner, you just want to make sure that you have the good number of stitches. Then for rounds 3 and 4, it's going to be pretty easy. You're going to do 1 single crochet stitch in each stitch around. So I'm going to do round 3 with you. So I just remove my stitch marker. I'm going to insert my hook into the first stitch, make a single crochet stitch, and I'm going to place my stitch marker again. And like I said, for rounds 3 and 4, I'm going to do 1 single crochet stitch in each stitch. So 1, I've made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 13, 14. And this is what you have now. It's normal that the pieces is starting to curl, but I want you to flip it back so you have the yarn tail inside. So some people are saying that it's a noodle in a bowl. So you want your noodle to be in the bowl. So you don't want your piece to be like that with the little yarn tail hanging there. So you just need to flip it back. So this is actually what we call the right side of the stitches, and this is the wrong side. Okay, so I'm just gonna hold it like this, and then I'm gonna, you can pause the video here. I'm gonna do round 4 the same way I just did round 3, and I'm gonna show you what I have after round 4. Okay, so I'm at the end of round 4, and it looks like this. So we still have our little noodle in a ball. And now for round 5, I'm gonna remove my stitch marker. I'm gonna do a single crochet stitch in the first stitch of the round. I'm going to place my stitch marker back, and for this round we're going to decrease a little bit. So to decrease, it's going to actually make our little octopus smaller. So basically right now we're right here. So we're doing this round here to make the bottom of the head. So for the decreases, I'm going to use the invisible decrease technique, but you can also use the regular technique. So for the invisible, I'm going to use the next 2 front loops of my stitches. So what is a front loop is actually the loop closer to you. Usually when you insert your hook, you want to insert it underneath both loops, so underneath the V shape. But for the decrease, you're only going to take the front loop. So like this. And then I'm going to lower my crochet hook, and I'm going to grab the second front loop. So I have my working loop and then my 2 front loops here. And then I'm going to yarn under, pull through. I have 2 loops on my hook, yarn over and pull through. So this is one invisible decrease that we've just made. So basically you're taking 2 stitches to create only 1. And then I'm going to do another decrease in the next stitch. So front loop, yarn under, pull through the front loops, yarn over, pull through both loops. So this is my second decrease here. And then I'm going to do a third one using the next 2 front loops. There we go. And then we're going to repeat what we've just made. So 1 single crochet stitch and then 3 decreases. So into the next stitch, I'm going to insert my hook into both loops to make a regular single crochet stitch. And then I'm going to use the next 2 front loops to do a decrease. And then again, another decrease. And then 1 more using the next 2 front loops. And this completes around 5, and you should have a total of 8 stitches around. And it looks like this. So as you can see, it's going smaller here, just like that. At this point, we're going to place our safety eyes. So like I said, I'm using 12mm safety eyes. You can use whatever you have. If you don't have any, you can just embroider some or just do no eyes. So we're going to place our eyes between rounds 1, 2, 3, and 4, just like this. And you can do 2 styles. So you have this one here where the eyes are not as close together, like this, or you can do this style here with the eyes closer together. So I like this one more. So for this style here, like I said, it's between rounds 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And basically you just place a first eye between these 2, and I like to have the stitch marker at the back. So this would be the back of my octopus. And then you're going to skip 1 little hole here in between the stitch, and then you're going to insert your second eye in the second hole. So it looks like this. And now I'm just going to secure the eyes, placing the washers inside. And just like that. And I'm going to secure the other one. And now our little octopus has some eyes, like this. And now we're ready to work the tentacles. So this is actually the last round, which is, like I said, the tentacles. So I'm going to remove my stitch marker. I'm going to use my crochet hook again. And for next round, we're again using the front loops. So I'm going to make a slip stitch into the next front loop. So this was my decrease here. I'm going to go into the next stitch, and I'm going to make a slip stitch into the front loop only. So I only grab the front loop, and I'm going to yarn over for my slip stitches and pull through everything. So through the front loop and through the working loop. If you want here, you can place your stitch marker. I'm not gonna do it because I know that it's gonna be my first tentacle. So you're gonna be it's gonna be pretty easy to see where you started that round. And then for the first tentacle, we're gonna chain 2, 1, 2. So it looks like this. And then I'm gonna go into the second stitch or second chain from the hook. So this is my first, going into the second, and I'm gonna slip stitch. So I'm gonna insert my hook into the chain, and I'm gonna yarn over and pull through everything. So this is actually one tentacle. I know it looks really weird, but that's what we just made, that little tiny thing here. So this is one tentacle, and then you're going to insert your hook back into the head of the octopus, into the front loop of the next stitch, and you're going to slip stitch again. And then we're going to repeat that around. So we're doing another tentacle here. So chain 2, slip stitch into the second chain from the hook, slip stitch, and then slip stitch into the front loop of the next stitch in the head. So now we have 2 tentacles. 1, 2. And I want to repeat that around, so I'm going to do a few more with you. Chain 2, slip stitch into the second chain from the hook, and then slip stitch into the next front loop of the head. Chain 2, slip stitch into the second chain from the hook, and slip stitch into the front loop of the head. Chain 2, slip stitch into the second chain, slip stitch into the head, only the front loops. And now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need to do 3 more. Okay, once you're done with your 8 tentacle, you're gonna slip stitch into either the base of the first tentacle that you made, or if you can find that little slip stitch that we made, you can single crochet, you can slip stitch there too. So I'm gonna slip stitch in the first slip stitch. That's a lot of slip stitches. So I'm just gonna slip stitch here. That's to finish our tentacle round. So it looks like this now. Keep in mind it's not stuffed yet. Okay, so we have our little tentacle with, we have a little octopus with the tentacles, like this. Now I'm gonna cut my yarn. I'm gonna leave not so long of a yarn tail, but at least 15 centimeters or 6 inches, just like that. And then once your yarn is cut, you can just pull it through, pull it out, and tighten that just to make a knot. So at this point, I'm gonna stuff my octopus. If you don't have any stuffing, you could also use some scrap yarn strands, yarn tails that you keep, or anything that you want to stuff your octopus with. Catnip if you're using that for your cat. If this is for your cat, don't put any safety eyes. That could be dangerous for them. Same for a baby, 3 years old and over, for the safety eyes. Okay, my octopus is stuffed. Now I'm gonna use my yarn needle, but like I said earlier, if you have only crochet hooks, you could use a smaller crochet hook, and I'm gonna show you that technique as well. So I'm just gonna use a smaller crochet hook here, like this, and I'm gonna bring the yarn inside. So if you have your yarn needle, you can just thread your needle. And here I just want to insert my crochet hook at the base of the tentacles inside the octopus, because I want to bring that yarn tail inside. Just here, like that. And you want to make sure that it doesn't show from the outside. And here we want to use the back loops that we didn't use from the previous round. I know it could be hard to see if you're a beginner, but basically you should have a back loop at the base of each tentacle. So if I'm stretching my tentacles a little bit, I'm just trying to see inside. These little loops here are actually the back loops. So I have one at the base of each tentacle, and that's what you want to use. So if you're using a crochet hook, you're gonna bring your crochet hook from the inside going out, from the inside going out, like this, and you're gonna grab your yarn and pull it through, and you want to repeat that around, so in each back loop. So from the inside out, like this. And if you have your yarn needle, it's gonna be the same idea. So with your yarn needle, this time you're gonna go from the outside going in. So the goal here is just to bring and grab every back loop. And then if you're using plush yarn just like me, it could easily break. So after like 3 or 4 back loops, I like to just pull on it a little bit, so really gently, just already to bring these little back loops together. And then I'm just gonna keep doing the same thing until I grabbed all of my back loops. Okay, so this is my last, so I'm just pulling on it gently, just so the hole is closed like this. If you still have a little hole here, that's easier with your yarn needle. With your crochet hook, it's going to be harder. But with your yarn needle, you can just bring it underneath a few bars like this. This is actually the back loops. I don't know if you can tell. So I'm going to grab this and this just to secure it even more. So I really have no holes at the bottom of my little octopus. And that looks good to me. As we can see, there's no more hole. And then I'm just gonna bring with my needle, I'm gonna bring the yarn in the middle of the bottom, let's say, and then I'm gonna bring it out in the head like this, so we don't see it anymore. And then I'm gonna go back into the same stitch and bring it out somewhere else in the head like this. And I'm gonna do that one more time. So back into the same stitch and somewhere else in the head. And then I'm gonna be ready to cut my yarn. So I'm gonna use my scissors like this. And you can also push it. So if you have a little bit of yarn tail here, you can just push it back inside. And there you go. Your little octopus is done. That was such a quick project. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you like that tutorial, and check my other videos as well. And you can also follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I'm on all the social medias. You can find all my written patterns on Etsy and Ravelry as well. And I'll see you back in another tutorial. Bye guys!